boast, I had that Olympic torch in the back of the bus once. After yesterday's protests in London, the French police took things into their own hands, snuffed out the flame each time they thought the protesters looked like menacing its progress, and stuck it on a bus. All the while, both in Paris and London, the torch has been accompanied by a phalanx of Chinese. But who are they? What powers do they have? And why are they involved at all? Paul Mason reports.
When protesters threatened to disrupt the Olympic flame, everyone expected the boys in blue to protect it. But not these boys in blue. The flame now comes with its own dedicated team of Chinese minders. The problem is, nobody seems to know who they are. This is the moment when a demonstrator attempts to take the flame from TV presenter Connie Huck. Here's the same incident as shown on YouTube. This Chinese guard appears to grab the protester around the neck, and then a policeman grabs him around the neck. Finally, the Met take over the grappling, and the Chinese guards go back to guarding. But even then, when this policeman calls for help to deal with another protester, it's the Chinese guards who respond.
I did think from the beginning that the men in blue seemed to sort of be in opposition to everyone but themselves. I know that sounds weird, but they seem to be ordering about the police and the Olympic officials, and everyone seemed to be sort of just doing what they said, and I can understand why, because they were so intimidating that I felt the same way. And they were like barking orders like, run! They pushed my arm up, like, you know, carry it at that height, you know, slow down, stop, you know. They're quite full on.
All this prompts the question, who are the men in blue? The protesters say they're Chinese secret police, and indeed they did look quite handy and composed during the trouble. What powers do they have? Well, the Metropolitan Police told us they had no executive power while in London. But those close to the action tell a different story.
Free Tibet!
Veteran human rights campaigner Peter Tatchell had the chance to observe the policing of the protest close up.
Free Tibet! Free Punjab! Free Tibet!
It appeared those men in blue, whoever they were, and they looked to me like military men or perhaps riot police or secret service agents, they seemed to be calling the shots at certain points. They seemed to be, in some cases, directing the police what to do and taking an active role in attacking people who came near the torch.
The Foreign Office had nothing to say about whether they were security agents. But to the Australian Prime Minister, flanking Gordon Brown tonight, it's an important issue, which he's long ago considered.
As the Attorney General said in Australia some weeks ago, we will not be having Chinese security forces of the Chinese security services providing security for the torch when it's in Australia. We, Australia, will be providing that security. What Olympic officials the Chinese bring to Canberra is a matter for them, but on the security front, we'll be providing that security.
In Paris today, the men in blue added sunglasses to their uniforms. The flame was put out 3 times as protesters clashed along the route. And in San Francisco, where the flame arrives on Wednesday, the protest has already begun. Western diplomats know that protests about Tibet are just as likely to harden Beijing's stance as to change it. But as of yesterday, Olympic diplomacy is coming from the streets, not ministries. And there's one particular set of streets where it could still all unravel. China intends to take the flame through Lhasa, the Tibetan capital. There, the men in blue will meet the men in orange. And it probably won't get onto YouTube.
Well, we asked to speak to the IOC, the Olympics Minister and the Chinese Embassy about the role of the security guards. They all declined to be interviewed.